Apple has revealed the iPhone 15 and the iPhone 15 Plus, as well as the iPhone 15 Pro and 15 Pro Max. As with the release of every new iPhone comes the release of a new version of iOS. This time it's iOS 17. Hey everyone, my name's Parikshit and welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the 10 best features of iOS 17 that I've used in my time with it since June. So let's get started. First up, let's talk about lock screen customization. Now, having a bunch of lock screens in pages like this isn't new, but the level of customization that you can do to each lock screen has changed drastically. So as you can see here, we can now choose the weight of the font. So custom fonts aren't here yet, but with the fonts that there are, you can choose how thin or how thick they are, and you can get it to match whatever style you're going for. If you make them super thin, you kind of make it look like iOS 7, which is a neat throwback to me. Now there are a bunch of new wallpaper options as well. So if we exit this and head over to the wallpaper picker, you'll notice that if we scroll all the way down, there is the original iPhone wallpaper with the cool depth effect and everything added to iOS 17. So if you're a fan of that wallpaper, that is now officially available from Apple. Now there are quite a few changes as to how portrait subjects are handled in iOS 17's lock screen. So let's find a good subject here. Damn, I wonder who this dude is. Alright, now you'll notice that there are a bunch of options down below. New to the list is this gradient backdrop option, which gets rid of the background and puts this gradient of a similar color in place. You can control how light or dark the colors are, that's up to you. The second option is a seamless background option. Gets rid of the background and you can add any kind of pale pastel colors that you want to the background. Then there's seamless background mono, which kind of makes it look like a comic book printout, where it's got this really cool shading over it. And then of course you've got your usual studio with the black and white setting, as well as the inverse toggle for white backdrops versus black backdrops. Next up, let's talk about the changes to the phone app, more specifically the contact cards in the phone app. Everyone's contact poster can be personalized, and these personalized posters make huge changes to the design on the caller screen. Just like with your lock screens, you can set up a bunch of different posters that you like for your contact. I've got two duplicates here, I don't know why, but you can set up any one of them and you can customize them to your liking. So select poster and you'll get this option just like you were decorating your lock screen, and you can scale your photo around, change the font up top, of course the weight of the font, the color, you name it, as well as the background. So just like the lock screen controls, you can control the background here in your contact card as well. So you can set that up for yourself, and whatever changes you make here will be visible to other people. So for example, this is my friend's calling poster, and this is how it looks on my screen when I'm calling him or when I get a call from him. Every time a contact updates their poster, it will update automatically for you as well. And if your contact doesn't have an iPhone, well, you can make this poster for them by yourself. Next up, let's talk interactable widgets. Now, widgets on the home screen were actually quite a big change to iOS. And now with iOS 17, these widgets are finally interactable. So you can tick off a reminder straight from the home screen, or you can pause and play your favorite music from the home screen on the widget as well. It works perfectly, and it's finally here. The only thing is, you're gonna have to wait for third-party apps to implement it, which I'm sure it's gonna happen soon, but at the time of recording this video, I can't show you much else because nobody has implemented support for them yet. But expect that to change as soon as iOS 17 drops officially. One of the biggest features of iOS 17 is standby mode. So if your iPhone is charging via MagSafe or Lightning and is placed horizontally instead of vertically, you'll get this beautiful standby kind of lock screen that shows up. You can access Control Center and swipe through to multiple different kinds of designs. So here's the photos one, where it'll go through different categories of photos. And then you've got your regular kind of utilitarian ones, like one that has both your clock and calendar on there, all of your calendar appointments, your reminders, the weather. And of course, all of this is customizable, so you can have on screen whatever you like. Now, if you don't have an always-on display iPhone, this will keep timing out, but any kind of sound or a little movement you make next to it will wake the screen. And another cool feature is, if you've got your lights off, the iPhone will automatically make the interface reddish, so it doesn't hurt your eyes during bedtime or in the dark. Standby has been something I've been using very heavily since launch. Next up, there are quite a few changes to the Photos app, one of which is more recent than the other, but there's this really cool feature where when you pick a photo in iOS 17 and you zoom in on it, you'll notice that we get this crop button in the corner. and it takes you straight to the crop menu, applying the crop of how much ever you'd zoomed in. And you can change how much it crops it by zooming in and pressing and holding the crop button. Now, this is a feature that was unveiled with the iPhone 15, but I think the iPhone 13 and onwards can do it as well. So we've got our regular portrait mode depth control, but if you look closely, we've also got the same iPhone 15 kind of refocus ability. So if I tap on the guy in the background, you'll notice that it refocuses to the guy in the background, and when I tap on the front, it focuses on my good friend. It's a pretty neat little feature. I gotta admit, I never expected that it would make its way to the iPhone 13. But yeah, so if you've got an iPhone 13 or newer, you will be able to access not the smart portrait mode, but the portrait mode refocus with depth control. Next up, let's talk about improvements to the Music app. Now, the Music app has seen quite a few design changes. You'll notice that it's already suggesting me what AirPlay device I typically connect to upon my first open, and touching that will automatically connect you to whatever device it is. So if you've got a device that you frequently listen to music on, like an AirPlay speaker, it will automatically suggest it every time you open the app. And now another really cool thing is albums that have dynamic artwork. So, albums which have moving artwork, like the one you see on screen here. When you open them in the Now Playing interface, they actually take up this kind of full screen player UI. And it's more evident on album artwork that moves a lot more. So let me show you another example, which, like this one. It's a really nice design change, and I don't know, it just makes the whole experience feel nicer. But that's not all that's new in the Music app. We finally have the option to apply crossfades between songs. Thank you, Apple. It took you long enough. This is a great feature. The next new feature I'd like to talk about is Siri. You no longer trigger it by saying, hey, you actually just say Siri, and it'll fire up, and it'll keep listening to you. So if you want to continue the conversation with her, you don't have to say, hey. You can just continue speaking and she will do whatever consecutive task you ask her to do. Also, remind me to finish my iOS 17 video.
Okay, I added finish my iOS 17 video to the list.
There's also, finally, after 10 years, that we've got brand new ringtones from Apple. Thank you, it took you long enough. Of course, you may or may not like them, but here are how some of them sound. And the default alarm sound, or the default timer sound, has been replaced. Visual Lookup has some great improvements in iOS 17. Now, when you open a photo, you'll notice that the Visual Lookup icon has this cute little cat icon over the eye, and you can hit that and you can immediately just see whatever it is that you're looking at with rich results. Now, I digress. It's not going to be a cat icon all the time, but whatever you're looking at will be represented in that eye icon down there. So let's say you were looking at a random animal. Well, you could bring it up and it will tell you exactly what it is. And let's say your friend cooked a great meal and you took a photo of it and you wanted to know how to make it yourself. It can detect when it's looking at food and it will show recipes for whatever it thinks it's looking at. Now, obviously, this can be a little hit or miss sometimes, but most of the times it seems quite accurate and it works really well. Next up are some big changes to iMessage. Now, if we open the Messages app, you'll notice that the iMessage UI has changed completely. Gone is the clutter of all the rubbish that would live near your keyboard. Now it's all tucked away in this plus button and everything has been sorted out super nice and tidy. Now, there's also the option to make stickers. So you can have a bunch of preset stickers, you can make your own stickers. So for example, let's say I wanted to turn that cat that I just showed you into a sticker. You can just head over to the Photos app and with the kind of smart pullout feature that you have in iOS, you can just turn it into a sticker. What's really neat is you can add a bunch of effects to this sticker. So you can make it look like a regular sticker or like one of those puffy stickers, and all of these react to the gyroscope and the way you're holding your device. So you can see that it looks like it's moving around. And there's also an option for a shiny sticker. This is one of my favorites. It's a really cute effect and I think it's quite nice. So yeah, if you're a stickers person, well, there's great improvements to stickers. Now, another thing I want to touch up on is the keyboard. It's been completely remade in iOS 17. It looks the same as it used to, but it now uses a new transformer model for language prediction as well as spell checking, and it works really well. there's this predictive text feature, which will auto-suggest text, hit the spacebar and it'll fill it in for you. And it also records swipe input much more accurately than before. And finally, it doesn't correct your swearing. So you can type whatever the heck you want and it won't correct it and turn it into shut or duck. I can't believe it. Alright, now there's some improvements to the camera on FaceTime. So you can turn on and off portrait mode like you could before, and now you can control the aperture as well as add studio lighting to it. Of course, it's just one effect, but you can change, the aperture as well as the intensity of the studio light. And now there's this neat little feature called reactions. So obviously using the camera, it will see whatever you're showing with your hands. So thumbs up will yield you a thumbs up, a thumbs down will yield you a thumbs down, and the peace sign will have these cool balloons show up on screen. Now, there are a few more effects which are accessible when you're on a FaceTime call, but I didn't have anyone to FaceTime call because, let's just not talk about that. But yeah, that's about everything that's major in iOS 17. Now, there are actually a ton of changes in this update, and if I were to go over all of them, we'd be here for a while. But you can check out all these changes for yourself by downloading iOS 17 today, or by heading over to their website and going over to the iOS 17 section and checking out all the new features in this huge 18-page PDF that they've got. And if you're wondering about support for iOS 17 drops support for the iPhone 10 and supports every device from the XR and the XS onwards. So yeah, that's it for this video. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Hit that like button and subscribe if you found this video helpful and you liked what you saw. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.